Yo, everybody, what is good? This is your boy Sean, aka Puff Comics 83, and we're back with another talking movie episode. This time we're talking some baseball with Major League. Yes, we're talking the Major League films. I got my Brooklyn Jackie Robinson jersey on because tomorrow is Jackie Robinson Day, so this is perfect timing on this. And I'd like to welcome, as always, my co-host, my man, White Lightning, because I'm Black Hammer. White Lightning himself, Varangian Vigilante.
What's going on? Not Jesse the Body Ventura, but the Varangian Vigilante. Yeah, I have no idea about baseball. I have no idea about the rules or anything. But especially the first and the second movie, I was watching it when I was really like an early teenager, and those movies were so much fun, and I loved them. So it was so great to rewatch them. And here they called the Indiana from Cleveland, which, as I found out, they're not even named that anymore.
No, the Cleveland Guardians. They said the name Indians was too offensive.
Yeah, like I read, but it's like
they didn't like the red face, just like the Redskins.
Yeah, I think such things are so silly. You know, if you want to do something for Native American, maybe don't treat them like shit. But but it's easier to change a team name.
Yep. But yeah, this film franchise is some of the best baseball comedy out there. You know, when you think of like baseball films, like Major League is definitely one of those that's right up there in terms of films that people tend to remember a lot. And this, you gotta have a great cast. You know, Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, Corbin Benson, and many others. And then you just have a great story of a team that's just down on this luck, rotten. They've been like irrelevant for so long, but yet one time they finally rise up to the occasion when they have an owner that takes them and wants to relocate them to another city. Now they rise up and challenge that owner with saying, we're not going to just go down easily.
Yeah, it's basically like the very intuitive and not willingly Moneyball. So you get a team, like everybody's good at something, but have a lot of weaknesses, and together they have to work to hide those weaknesses, and that everybody can play out their strengths. So it's always fun to watch an underdog story, and the team is. Yeah, like I said, the cast is fantastic. I mean, this movie really gave us Wesley Snipes. Like, this was his breakout movie, and Tom Berenger and Charlie Sheen. Platoon is one of my favorite war movies, and when you see them in a war movie like this, and then see them in a comedy, and realize, wow, like they can do both in perfection. Then you have a really good cast going.
And you don't even think of comedy and Tom Berenger together, because a lot of the movies is serious with him.
Yeah, like Sniper. I love this whole Sniper franchise.
Yeah, like, and this was right after like The Substitute, you know. So, you know, it was great seeing him play a role that's different from what he usually plays, and still actually have some comedic timing with the actors. And of course, we see Charlie Sheen, and when you really think about it, like Charlie Sheen's earlier movies were more serious, and then he started leaning more into the comedies in the 90s. So this was like his more forte into more comedy. But you know, when you got a name like Wild Thing, Rick Vaughn, and you got a theme song to come out to, man, Wild Thing, you know, it's one of his most endearing characters that most people remember, the Wild Thing.
Yeah, for me, when the first thing, when I think Charlie Sheen is always Hot Shots.
Yeah.
But Major League is very close second to that, and like I said, it's so interesting. I think the success, especially of the first one, and the second one was a box office bomb, but I think it's still very much entertaining. But I think the success that brought it beyond the US. Of course, in Japan, they love baseball, which also plays a little bit in the second one. But in Europe, we don't care about baseball. I say I can watch it without knowing any of the rules. This is a beautiful thing because you may sometimes wonder is like what to do now. But it doesn't matter because the characters are so interesting and you get the effect what they're doing. So like okay.
And let's go through the characters because there's so many characters in this film.
Yeah.
Besides Tom, you got Tom Berenger who plays the veteran catcher Jake Taylor. Bad knees and all.
I can relate to that, right?
It's like the older we get, we can relate to the character. That's why I can't get on the floor and dig for comics on the bins because they on the floor. I'm like, nah. But he plays a down on his luck. He's in the Mexican League at the start of the film, and he sees this opportunity because the Indians want him back. He sees this as his last chance of glory, and being the veteran that he is, he's going to take up that offer to have that final chance.
Yeah.
So you always have those veterans that want that one last shot. That one last chance of saying, "Hey, this might be it for me after this." So to look
for the perfect retirement season.
Yeah, and when you really look at it, even that with part 2, it was like this would have been a great retirement season for him.
Yeah,
with that last gasp of glory. But he also has a subplot in the film where he chases after his ex-girlfriend, wife. Renee Russo plays his ex-girlfriend Lynn Wesland, and we said this backstage. I'm like, they could have cut that whole subplot out of the film because of how weird and creepy it was with.
I'm a Renaissance man. I really give a fuck about modern sensibilities, but that was outright stalking. And if even I say like this is not a healthy behavior to get the woman you like.
And it's not even good when somebody say, "Hey, you should follow her home to find out where she lives." Like what? It backfired.
But also she then cheated on her and her soon-to-be husband, her engaged boyfriend, and so basically they deserved each other. Like it's actually pretty much a scumbag and whole scumbag relationship.
Like the whole thing of those two really slowed the movie down. You just want to focus on the team,
Yeah.
And I felt like they did a better job in the sequel when we talk about Bond's character with how that affected him. But
because what I was missing a little bit from the first movie, of course, they're building up like a rivalry with the Yankees, but there's no real reason why to root against the Yankees. So they have like a villain, of course, the team owner from the Indians. But it's like they only root against the Yankees because, as you said before, they're the villain in every movie.
The evil empire is what they call them up here, man. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
What's going on, brother? But yeah, the Yankees are like automatic villains in every movie they're in, no matter what. Oh, it's the Yankees? I hate that team. And I'm a New Yorker and I'm a Mets fan, so I don't even like the Yankees. So yeah, they automatic villains. Of course, the next character is probably the most known character, and that's Rick Wild Thing Vaughn, played by Charlie Sheen.
Yeah. And
boy, oh boy, when he comes on the scene, straight out of the penitentiary.
Yeah, drafted from the orange to the red.
and we find out that he's got the reason why he's called Wild Thing because he is uncontrollably wild with his pitches. Like he is just throwing the ball all over the place, even decapitating one of the fucking baseball.
Yeah, he's like throwing them really, 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 really strong.
He's got a great fastball, like
great
100
fastball,
plus miles per hour,
but very narrow-sided, as they found out later.
Yeah, Like he needed some glasses to help out with his seeing. But early on, he was just blitzing the hell out of people with his wild, erratic throws.
Yeah,
but again, like he's. Go ahead.
And this, like, because this also knows from my own experiences. You know, when I played football, real football, like European football, and I'm like narrowsighted. I have contact lenses, so. You know, the first month, even the first year, you don't really get that your eyesight is getting worse because it's so gradually. And then I remember sometimes in football, like, well, I'm not seeing anything as I used to anymore. Until I then got my eyes checked out and then got contact lenses. And then playing was a whole different thing. But it's very interesting because sometimes you don't even know yourself. You just feel something's off.
That's interesting that you say that. Yeah. You know how it connects with the film. You know, because sight is always an important thing, especially when it comes to baseball and you know you have to target the catcher and how you're going to pitch around the batter. You know, so that's pretty interesting to find out about yourself. You know that you're the same situation where you need the glasses to see.
Yeah, and it's way easier to target a goal when you actually see it.
Right. But yeah, he's probably one of the popular characters of the franchise. Then we get to third baseman Roger Dorn, played
also
by
veteran player who basically just wants one more year to like a payday, one more payday until retirement, and then really get shaken up to you know prove yourself out there again.
I like how when he first came on the scene, and like I thought we didn't have no high price players. Like we did have high price players, but he's one that's on the tail end of his career.
Yeah,
and he is arrogant as fuck. You know, he's very he thinks highly of himself, but he can't feel the ball to save his life because he plays third baseman, and every time the ball comes his way, he fumbles it. Like he completely drops the ball.
I think he has also one of the best redemption arcs in the movie, except for the relationships again, which every relationship in this movie is horrible.
Every relationship. And he's the first of a couple of characters that actually appeared in all three films.
Yes.
No, so that's
at least most parts of him, like the hair less and less.
And then we get to the villain of the film, Rachel Phelps, played by Margaret Wilton.
The evil witch.
The evil witch. Every time she came on the scene, the guy's skin crawls. They like, fuck this bitch.
she does it really well. She does it really well.
She played like she inherits the team from her deceased husband. She's a former showgirl, so she has this uppity. Well, I want to say the word from Dave Chappelle. Aura. This uppity aura about herself. And she projects that in a negative way.
I'm Rachel Phelps, bitch.
She wants to move the team to Miami because you know she gets the luxury,
the weather,
the nice city of Miami with right there on the beach line and stuff like that. She hates Cleveland, and this movie really highlights why Cleveland is kind of what it is when it comes to the city of Cleveland. Outside of that championship LeBron James won, they have not won the championship in forever. And the movie highlights this. Mm-hmm. And she has this whole demeanor of, get nothing but Asian players and young rookies. And we're going to be the worst team in the league.
Yeah, because there's this contract clause that when they have an attendance under 1,500 through the season, then she can quit the contract with the city of Cleveland and can move to Miami. So that's her goal.
And one thing about fans and teams, we become so loyal to that team that when they decide to move, it's almost like you're ripping our hearts out.
Yeah, I even how is it now when they're called the Guardians? Did the fans then just say, fuck it, it's not my team anymore?
I don't know. Like, I didn't really pay much attention to, the fan side of it, but I know, considering the fact that you have old school fans that like, they'll be the Indians for life, because that's what I grew up with.
What I know from teams here, if I was a big supporter of a team, and when they had like the sponsor name in the name, we all went berserk and then really fought for years and protested until they put it out again, because like we don't have shit like this. Like your name is your tradition, and you gotta stick with it.
I agree. I'm one of those guys that's loyal to how the tradition of the name is.
Yeah.
And when you change things, it's like I don't agree with that. Like, say for instance, a stadium name. The name of the stadium is so iconic, but then you got some corporate sponsor that wants to come in and put their name on there, and it's like that shit don't even sound right. I'm just calling it what the name I grew up calling.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a reason for me when the sponsor has the name, so I don't buy anything from that sponsor, because fuck you, you stole our name.
Yeah, it's all about money.
Yeah.
It's all about money. And she saw moving the team to Miami as being more financially better. But the fans of Cleveland is going to be like, we're going to lose our team to this fucking Miami? And a couple of years later, the football team, the Cleveland Browns, moved to Baltimore. And that gutted the city of Cleveland. And Baltimore won the Super Bowl a couple years after that. So it's like, God, that's even a bigger slap in the face. So, yeah, moving teams can suck for a fan base.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get when a team moves to my city, I could never become a fan of the team. Like,
Yeah. And then we got Lou Brown, played by James Gammon. I love this.
Yeah,
actor, man. Like,
such a fantastic coach in this one, and
I love him even more in the second one when he has little heart problem.
Yeah, but my favorite scene is still, when the boss comes in and he's just there naked and they don't want to get any clothes. Like, nope.
Yeah, out the towels, and I don't feel like going in there to die for something. That shows you that the plight that she put the team in, like the bath is broken, the water is cold, everything is busted up because she's trying to do everything she can to ruin the team's chemistry.
They switched to worse playing it than just a very old bus, where they had all the old classic illustrated comics in there.
Everything. But he was fantastic in this film. I love his voice. Like, he definitely has an old school style voice.
And that mustache is also epic.
Yeah, so he was a fantastic manager of the team, and every time there's a scene involved with him, I always gotta listen because he just know how to voice his opinion.
Yeah.
Renee Russo, we talked about her earlier. Like I said, she's a great actress, but I could skip over the entirety of this.
She's unnecessary. Like
I said, the best part was when he got redirected to the boyfriend's house, and that was like, oh shit, you look fucked up. But other than that, they could have just cut all the scenes with them.
Yes, that was. I'm pretty sure that was like a studio decision or something. That screamed studio decision. We need to have like a love story, and it's so funny, like how Hollywood is saying one thing and then acting very different. Because I think that a lot of like people in Hollywood think that this is a relationship when it's just toxic as fuck.
It's really toxic. There's really nothing redeemable coming out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you going to get back together when you already know your negatives? Another great character, one of my favorites, Harry Doyle, played by Bob Ecker, the announcer of the team. Man, this dude is hilarious in all three films.
Yeah, he's pretty much one of the staples of the franchise, and he's also keeping the audience like up to date with everything. Like, he's the voice of the movie, basically, like the narrator.
he be having some great lines, you know, like, oh, he hit that straight to South America.
Just a little bit out. What was that?
Just a little outside. Yeah, like he was fantastic in this film, and you know the fact that he's an actual sports commentator and announcer, and he even had a run-in with Andre the Giant at WrestleMania. So awesome. Willie Mays Hayes, played by
Wesley
Snipes.
Yeah,
I
that
love
was
his introduction scene.
movie. Yeah, not on the list, but he managed to get himself on the team.
And they took his bed, carried him all the way outside the gate, and he still was able to come to training camp and outrun two guys who was already running.
Yeah, and that's how he got on the team.
And then he saw I'm going to give y'all a hitting display, and find out he's the worst hitter on the team. Dude could not hit a ball to save his life.
Hey, Tucum Pedro.
What's up, Two Gun? But what he excelled at was speed. And that's one thing I know about baseball is when you have a person like that, he always is the leadoff hitter because you want that speedy guy that you can steal some bases. You know, Ricky Henderson comes to mind. He was a fantastic runner. He stole many bases. So he excelled at speed, and they like, we want you to steal bases. That's your MO. Get on first base and then steal.
Yeah, and it's also no miracle why Wesley Snipes got his breakthrough with this movie, because when you watch the second one and Wesley Snipes is not in it, you really see what is missing.
Yeah, and we'll get to the second one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Charles Cyphers as Charlie Donovan, general manager. You know, I love his defiance towards Hulk. You know, like, he wants to support the team, but he also wants to please his boss.
Yeah, you know, that's the wonderful thing about this movie. Like, the small roles also really have so much heart to them.
Yeah. And then you got Chuckle Ross as Ed Harris, the veteran pitcher. I love his whole scene, his stuff with the Jobu.
Yeah. He's like being like hardcore old school Christian, and then yeah,
he's very hardcore Christian, and he don't support that voodoo nonsense. So he drinks the last sip of rum from Jobu. He pays for it dearly. He like, don't fuck with voodoo now.
Yeah,
don't fuck with voodoo. But yeah, and he also shows that he doctors the ball in terms of doctrinate the ball.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's an older, Asian veteran. So he's trying to maintain what he can do and try and get an advantage off the ball. So, yeah. But he was, again, another great character. And, of course, we got to talk about Pedro Serrano, played by Dennis Haysbert. Another fantastic character in this film. Another one that was in all three films.
Yeah.
He's just awesome. You know, from presence, from his voice to his voodoo doll Jobu. You know, it's like he's a slugger. He can hit the ball, but he can't hit breaking balls. And he's always a high percentage strikeout guy. But I love him in this film. And
he's also somebody who really carries the movie and carries the franchise. As you said, he's like in all three of them.
Yeah. But those are like top tier actors. You know, you got a couple of others, but those are our main guys.
Yeah.
And women. But one thing I really enjoy about the film, outside of the whole fight against the odds underdog story, is how it shows team camaraderie. Even if they're not liking each other, they're trying their best to be as good as they can be. And we see halfway through the film that they were projected to be last place, but yet they're 60-61. Halfway through the season, and they're like, oh, we can go all the way.
Yeah. And then you realize, also, like, they have to go all the way when they discover, like, the evil blood by the team owner. And that's the wonderful thing about it, as you said. They're really working together. But the more that the team owner tries to throw stones in their way, the more they are bound together, and the more they say, "No, we're gonna rise above this."
Rise above it, and they have their struggles. We described a lot of the characters' flaws. With Bond's wild pitches. Pedro can't really hit breaking balls, so he's striking out high. But they're all willing to adapt and try and get better at it. And while there's still struggles are there, they're gonna do everything they can to rise up to the occasion. And one of the characters that really do have a good character arc, and you mentioned it before, and that's Dawn.
Yeah.
I like the Dawn's character from smug, arrogant, financial wizard and stuff to trying to compete and do better. He's one of the worst fielders in the game. He cannot catch a ball or handle a ball that comes his way. But when things get tough, he like, I got to do my part. And even at the end, like
I think that was one of the most heartwarming things, because in the like his wife saw, like, in the live feed, that he went with a girl backstage, so she decided to go in bed with one of his teammates, with Vaughn, because Vaughn and Dawn hated each other. And then after having sex, she said, "Oh, like, I'm his wife," and it's like, fuck.
And he didn't know.
He didn't know, but then it's also that when Dawn found out, he was saying, he was supporting Vaughn till the end, and when they won, he gave him one hit and then hugged him.
But it's not like he found out. Like, the wife told him.
Yeah, the wife told him. Yeah, because
and she did that deliberately to create tension. It was like she did that just to ruin their chances at winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, she was also horribly wrong. So.
And she just going based off of what she saw on TV.
Yeah,
there's no telling that what he did with that girl.
Let's just say odds are there.
Like, come on, like, he ain't go back there and do it with her. You don't know that.
He just got a massage.
But like you said, he definitely, like, held on to it and still, like, win the game. And when he approached Vaughn while Vaughn was at the plate, you thinking there's gonna be some fight here, but he's like, strike this motherfucker out, because the top hitter on the Yankees, Taylor, is murdering Vaughn. Like, he's like homer every time he faced Vaughn, and that was the big matchup.
Yeah.
And I think they highlighted it even better in the second film with David Keith, as Parker.
Yes, but it was a little bit missing in the first one. Like I said, there was no reason to hate the Yankees besides that they're the Yankees.
That's the only reason to hate them. If it's the Yankees, they are automatic villains. Always. A movie don't have to give you a explanation on why we supposed to hate them. But they're the Yankees. They got the most World Series championships of all the teams. Everybody hates them because of that.
So they're basically the FC Bayern Munich, which everybody hates.
When you got that many championships and that revere, you're going to be hated outside of New York.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like they definitely made Taylor like that villain to Vaughn in the first film. You always gonna have a pitcher that struggles against a hitter, and for him to overcome that was like icing on the cake to try and beat that. But I also liked that what's the name's character, Jake Taylor's art. With him laying down that bunt and then having that run with the bad knees, that slow motion run.
That was so well choreographed. Like, that was also a scene I was feeling that.
It was, my knees were burning every time I see that.
Yeah.
But it was so well
ice
shot.
On my knees.
Like you said, it was so well shot, and with Hayes stealing third and running home plate, that was so well done in terms of how they won that game. You know, and that's the thing. Like, you watch these games, and it really takes me back to when I used to go watch baseball. And, you know, you have those thrilling moments at the end of the game. When it's the ninth, bottom of the ninth, it's either you score and you win the game, or you strike out and you lose. And it's so emotionally invested in it that you're just into it the whole time. And, you know, and that's what these movies really capture, is that the intensity of these moments. A lot of people will say baseball is a sport. And I can't disagree with them on that. There are times where you go to a game and it's a 1-0 final, or 2-0, or 3-1, and it's not really a lot of excitement in it. But there is drama when there's these tight games, and you're trying to get that victory, and the intensity level is ramped up when, you know, somebody's at third base and you're trying to get them home.
Yeah, like I said, there's nothing more ecstatic in this world than when you're in the stadium and you witness like a comeback at the end. There's nothing more. Like, I know the feeling. You know, you're in there. You're on the fucking in the stadium. You're not playing yourself. You're watching, but it feels like you're the king of the world when this happens.
And it feels like you had your guts ripped out of you when you lose.
Oh yeah, I also remembered. I remember losing the championship in the final match of the season, and you're there. It's fucking raining, and you just think the world is ending. Always. But then I also remember, like, you know, winning the championship, like in the last round, or the cup final, like in overtime, etc. And then it's like you really think, like, you know, there is like a higher power leading you to glory.
It's how I feel when the New York Giants beat Tom Brady and the Patriots. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm witnessing here. The underdog Giants beating Tom Brady, the godsend of football. It's like, oh man. And I like how this movie showed elements of the fans. You know, whether, you know, in the stands or running gag of, oh, the Indians are shit this year, man. Piece of shit team this year. Even the Japanese are saying they're shitty.
And you already mentioned it, like in the pre-show. The second one highlights this even more with giving us, of course, Uncle Eddie.
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid in probably one of the roles where he was most himself.
And it really shows, because fandom can be hardcore.
Yes.
Like, when you really think about it, social media really brought out the worst of us. But we've always been this hardcore fan base.
Yeah, you know, it's also, there was, it's, you know, like basically in football, you know, 11 players, and there's this one player that everybody hates, and then you have like signs in the stadium like, we're only chanting for 10 people.
I remember when the New Orleans Saints was so bad that people came with paper bags on their head, the New Orleans Aints. You know, and it's like, these guys are hardcore fans, but you to show up there with paper bags on your head just to be part of a bad team. But, you know, it just shows you that the fandom is just as important. And as great as it is to win, it's heartbreaking to lose. And I think,
what really showed it was like the time in the pandemic when there were no people in the stadiums, and then it's like, I
can't watch this.
Yeah, exactly. This is not the same.
I can't watch this. And then they pipe in crowd noise, and you know nobody's there.
Yeah, like also, like, you know, the wrestling, you know, with all the just cans and everything on there. But
nah, I don't like this virtual reality shit. But like I said, I know you know this. Nothing ripped my heart out more than when Charles Smith could not make a fucking layup in that damn game against the Jordan Bulls, and the Knicks lost that game.
Yeah.
That was so gut crushing that I cried.
Yeah, that was and the other times always, like I always say, there's a special place in hell for Reggie Miller.
Don't say that, bro. Don't say that. I hate Reggie too, but I ain't gonna say that. Oh, Reggie Miller. He broke our hearts. He broke our hearts, man.
Yeah.
But any other thing you want to talk about with the first film? Like some of your favorite scenes?
I think what the first one does very strong, except for the relationship scenes, really having a fantastic build-up. You know, it really figured out the formula perfect. You know, how the team, you know, they're losing, then they're winning some, and then they're suddenly realizing, okay, hey, we can go there, and then they can go all the way. So they really did it very well with, you know, this montage of the victories. So they didn't overuse the gaming itself. So there was really really fun, like watching like more baseball in the end.
And they threw that American Express part. I love that part, especially when Wesley Snipes slide in, like American Express. Don't leave home without.
They do the formula so well that I think they rely a little bit too much on the same formula in the second one.
Yeah, I will agree with that, because you would think, because the second movie came out in 94, the first movie was 89, so there's a huge gap between.
Yeah, and you can totally see because Charlie Sheen looks so much older.
Yeah, but the second movie took place right after the first, like maybe half a season after the first, but it didn't really feel like it connected with the first when it comes to that, because that's such a long gap in between movie production. I really felt like if they wanted to make the movie immediately, they should have done it 2 years after, because they still could have gotten Wesley Snipes to do the sequel. Yeah, by the time 94 came, Wesley Snipes was a superstar.
And I think also he was he busy doing White Man Can't Jump, like at that?
Yeah, White Man Can't Jump, New Jack City.
Yeah.
A couple other films. But by 94, Wesley Snipes was the man.
Yeah. And even though he was just a side character in the first movie, like I said, his absence is so much missing in the second one.
Big time.
Yeah.
No, but I do agree with that. It's like now you start from a new season and the Indians suck again.
Yeah, because everybody's so arrogant that they think that now it's just, you know, now it started rolling and now they don't need to work as hard again. Now they can do more like their side hustles with sponsorships, etc. So I think that idea was not bad, but I think it was really a little bit too repetitive, that they went with the same vibe, you know, losing and then winning again. Like, there was something missing. What they really did better was, like also mentioned, that they really gave us like a villain in form of a character that they got David Keefe, Jack Parkman. Yeah, and then he was traded to the White Sox and really flourished there.
Now you see that? If the Yankees ain't gonna be the villain, Chicago's the next one up, because and they chose the White Sox because the Cubs are in the National League and the Cubs are right there with the Cleveland. They ain't won shit in forever, so they can't make them look like the villains. So we gotta make Chicago White Sox the villains.
Yeah, I only think I know that from El Bundy.
But and another thing is what I feel about the second movie that they could have done better is the transition. Because now, if this take place a season after the first movie, Dorn bought the rights to the ownership.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know that had to be a much longer process. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's not such an easy process to sell. And even if she sold it to him, you would think that she would have went to other investors You know, it's a lot of things going on when it comes to ownership sales.
Yeah,
so I don't think Thorne could have at least usurped and got that type of power.
I really think it would have been better if they would make the movie like also like 3 or 4 years like after that it plays part, and then they have like a small history in the beginning, what happened in these 3 years, and I think that would have been interesting to play it maybe out a little bit different, so that actually the other ones hunted now.
Yeah, and I did like, as much as we didn't like the whole thing with Taylor and his girl, I did like that Rene Russo made a little cameo appearance in it, just to say
the continuity.
They still together, and that we didn't ignore her, because most movies would just straight up ignore her and not even bring it up. So they gave her a little cameo spot, and that was fine. What I really like about the second movie is Rick Vaughn's character development. He went from being the wild thing, the whole come out of jail and become a pitcher. Now, after that season,
straight to Wall Street.
He Wall Street. He got successful. He's trying to make business deals with his new girlfriend, who's a financial advisor. So he's trying to be more corporate. And nothing was more disappointing than all those fans at the beginning, dressed up in their gear, like, oh, here comes the wild thing. And he comes out a limo, Rolls suit. And remember, in the first film, he hated suits. Like, he had a tie on with his regular jeans and shirt.
And in American Express, when he had like the sleeves strip off.
And now he's embracing the suits. So it's like a complete character change. And you know what? It's not too far off from real life.
Yeah, some people, when they have success and they start acting different.
Once that success gets to their head, they feel like they gotta shed their negative image from the past and be more acceptable to the mainstream media. And I liked that play because now he's in the dilemma. He lost his edge. He doesn't have that fastball speed no more, because now he's trying to be more conservative and saying, I need to think about my long-term success.
Yeah.
And it really gives us the nice character dynamic that he's going through, the struggles. That to me was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, that was really good, because it was like a very graspable, because this happened a lot in real life with a lot of players. They got just too drunk on their success and then forgot the basics, the necessary things that you have to day in and day out to stay on top.
Yeah, and it's like once they get that money, then they lose that energy, that motivation that drove them in the first place.
Because it's one thing to be hungry and to want to be on top, and it's another thing to be on top. And it's like you have all the food, but it's like, do you really still want it?
Exactly. And to me, I feel like that was one of the stronger elements of the film.
Yes, exactly.
And I like the whole, like, he had a girlfriend that he was with in the first movie that we never saw.
Yeah.
But they highlighted her here. Yeah. And she runs a little, a teacher at a school, and I like the fact that the kids all look up to him, but he kind of like dismisses them in a different way. Mm-hmm. And it really shows how his character has changed from that first film, because a lot of the people looked up to him, from his fans, the kids, but yet he has this, egotistical aura that I'm above all this. I don't need to go back to that past.
You know what the movie also really highlights? It's like how relatable, like in daily life, some players are. Like back in the day, before 9/11, before the mid 90s, when the big money was rolling into everything. it was normal to meet like professional players like in regular bars, hang out with regular folks, no securities and everything. That's something we truly lost. Like with all the security, with all the media hype, with there's too much money in the sports.
Way too much money.
Yeah.
Now the players are getting so much money. It's like they're untouchable when it comes to fan assets.
Yeah, there's like they're living in their own world. They're literally moving in their own world. I know there's this one picture where Cristiano Ronaldo and his girlfriend are sitting in something, and there's somebody commented, "I'm so poor, I don't even know what they are sitting in." Like,
yeah. It is. Pedro got a change in his life.
Yeah, I think that was a weaker change. Like, this is something I wouldn't have needed. Like that, it becomes like now that he just switches religions and is now Buddhist. I think this was not a good change. Very unnecessary.
He tried to save a pigeon.
That was a good scene. I really liked that one.
What are you doing? But and we do get introduced to two new characters in the film. Let me see if I bring them up.
Yeah, Rube Baker.
Rube Baker, played by Ed Bruce Cotter.
Yeah, that character was actually quite boring.
He was. And who struggles to throw the ball to the pitcher at the pitcher?
Yeah.
I never understood that logic, that he struggles to throw the ball to the pitcher who's right there. He can throw the third base, he can throw the first base, but he can't throw it straight to the pitcher. That to me was like the weakest flaw I've ever seen of all the character flaws.
Yeah, and he's like a dull character, so he doesn't give much to the movie. However, another change, of course, is that we see that the Japanese player we got from the Giants, not those,
not those Giants.
Isuro Tanaka, like.
I will say that he did give Pedro some energy back, with him converting to Buddhism stuff, and he challenged you got to be a warrior.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a really nice one. And of course, like one of the best cameos, Jesse the Body Ventura.
Now we
it's White Lightning.
we have to talk Omar Epps as Willie Mays Hayes. He replaced Wesley Snipes, and like I said, I love Omar Epps. I think he's a fantastic actor,
and he's really good in the movie. But
yeah, he's entertaining. Like I like that. In the off season, he said, "I bulked up. Now I want to be a hitter," and that goes completely against the leadoff hitter. Like your job is to hit the ball, get on first base, and be the base stealer. Yeah. But now you want to be a hitter.
And and the shoes of Wesley Snipes are huge ones to fill, and he's way too young. He's way too young in the movie, but he's still entertaining. Hey, Robert. So if you don't watch the first one and you just see the second one, you wouldn't see his portrayal as a flaw. He really plays it fantastic, especially like when he sees himself also like as a star, and he's also like into action movies now, playing Black Hammer, White Lightning with Jesse Body Ventura. This is one of the fake movies I would love to see.
Especially White Lightning's introduction, when he jumps off the top, lands on his feet. Even Jack was like, "The fuck?"
I'm pretty sure Jesse did this stunt himself.
He did all his stunts. Yeah, I you know what? I do agree with you on people who watched this movie first and didn't see the first one. they will probably like this Willie Mays Hayes a bit more because this is the one that they grew up with.
Exactly, yeah.
And so I remember back then, like they played 2 a lot more on TV than 1, and that's mainly due to 2 being PG-13 and 1 being rated R.
Yeah, I don't understand that R rating.
Yeah, it's I don't understand it neither. Both movies you can watch, and they're pretty tame compared to a lot of rated R films. But that's the only reason why 2 got played a lot more. But yeah, I thought Omar did a fine job. Like I said, I thought he played the part well, but he just wasn't Wesley Snipes.
Yes, even who is?
Yeah,
and he's Blade. Blade don't pay taxes, like.
And then David Keith, Jack Parkman.
Yeah, asshole.
The villain.
Yeah.
Soon as he came on the scene, he was a straight asshole. He didn't shake nobody's hand. I'm like, well, damn, bro. If you ain't gonna shake my hand, then that means you don't want to be my teammate.
Yeah, and he's an asshole as a teammate, and then he switches teams, and he's really well built up as the villain.
Yeah,
like this is a really good build up.
And he has such a great antagonistic battle against Vaughn. You know, he owns Vaughn, and this is where Vaughn is trying to give all his pitchers nicknames: the Terminator, the Exterminator. You know, I was like, bro, just throw a pitch, man.
Yeah.
He's throwing slower pitches than the guy in the third movie.
Oh, the third movie was so boring.
Like I said, but David Keith really nailed it as Jack Parkman. I love Bob Uecker's line when he does his shimmy. The girls in Cleveland love it, and then when he goes to Chicago, the girls in Cleveland pukes.
But yeah, it's that's because basically the finale is the same as the first one, and the only one who really makes who sells it is Keith David.
See,
David Keith.
We do get to see Jake Taylor become temporary manager.
Yeah.
Because of Lou Brown suffers a heart attack while giving a speech. And while the doctors are telling Lou, hey, we're not even letting you watch the game, we get some good comedy where he got his little earpiece on, listening to the game.
Live, yeah.
He's like, yeah, I knew we could do other stuff. And then the lady like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, hey, I'm watching some ribbons and shit.
Yeah, I think there's some
British
some old people BBC series or something.
I was like, you gonna have a heart attack again, bro. Well, I love that bit with him. But yeah, you can see it from the first movie that Taylor, he was made to be a manager. Yeah, like, he has that experience in baseball, and he can manage a team because he's a veteran and he knows these players well. So him,
and he's also like good. He knows how to handle people, like how to handle which character on the team. So he's like the binding glue in the first movie between the whole team.
Yeah, like he helped out with Vaughn and Hayes in the first movie. Second movie, he helps out with Baker and his issue. You know, so he knows how to manage these players and deal with an owner who comes back halfway through the movie.
Yeah,
because Dawn was struggling financially. That's why you see all the sponsorships and stuff. And he had to sell back to her. And it's like, damn, now the bitch is back in charge. and you know, she's not as ruthless as she was in the first movie.
But then it's like it copies the first movie 1-to-1.
Yeah, it would have been different had Dawn been the whole way as the owner. But
yeah, it would have been better if she would be the owner maybe of the White Sox.
Yeah, because then like now she has a stake in an investment. Like
Yeah.
I get away from this team and I still lose to them.
Yes, that I think that would have been a little bit. It would have mixed it up a little bit. That's the thing that the first one had this great formula. So of course it's also entertaining in the second one. But I really wanted to mix it a little bit up.
Yeah, they should have mixed it up a bit and changed how she was presented. Like she got owned another team like the White Sox, and she still has to see her old team.
Yes.
Plus, you get to see how Dorn can manage the team. With how his character went from the first film to the second film. Yeah, he was struggling financially, but a lot of owners do that, and they still make a lot of money.
And they really dumped him down from the first to the second movie.
I agree. Because when he got demoted back to the bench, they pretty much like, yeah, you staying on the bench. We're not even going to put you in the game until we need you to take a hit.
Yeah.
And then when they said, all right, we're going to get a pinch runner in, Dumon's like, no, I don't want. And then he started exercising the same way. But yeah, they really did dumb down his character. And it's kind of a shame because with him being the owner at the beginning, you would see some character evolving from him. But then they just kind of regress backward.
Yeah, sadly. But still, it's a fun movie. The first and the second one are perfect for a double feature.
Yeah, I agree. The third, not so much.
The third one, as you already said, the second one doesn't feel like it's really well connected to the first one. And the third one sticks out like a sour thumb. It's not even the same team, there's some recurring characters, but it's basically its own movie. It's almost like it's more like a spin-off than a sequel.
Yeah, and I mean the only thing I like about it is the whole minor league versus major league thing that it had going. It's an interesting topic, what can a minor league team beat a major league team? And when you think about it, like if a major league team should crush any minor league team, but a minor league team that has the heart and the grit can challenge anybody and push them to the limit.
Yeah, sadly, this also know from our own experience, since our team were in the cup finals and we lost against an half amateur team from the third league. They got into the finals. They had this team spirit and everything. So I know being then the big team and to lose to a smaller team, which is fucking embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. And the team at hand, which is the Minnesota Twins, that's the major league team in the third film, is ran by Ted McKinley, aka Jefferson Darcy from the Married with Children. And he is the highlight of the film. He's the villain because he is so good at scumbag.
He's just perfect at that. It was also one of the few cases, where when I'm watching Married with Children, I don't know who to like more, Steve or him. It's
I
Jeff.
love Steve.
I know Steve or Jefferson. They're both fantastic.
Yeah, like people forget about Steve, but those early seasons with him and Al just had some weird, unique chemistry about it.
Exactly.
Jefferson was like an extension of Al.
Yeah.
In a way. Whereas Steve was the complete opposite. But it worked so well.
Yeah.
Oh man. Those early seasons of Married with Children was really underrated.
It was so good. But yeah, he's like I said, the saving grace of the film, because otherwise the movies, maybe it's more interesting if you're really into baseball. But the Major League 1 and 2 are very interesting if you have no clue about baseball. But I was so lost watching the third one.
It just doesn't have the same energy and comedy that the first two films have. Yeah. I love Scott Bakula, Quantum Leap, Enterprise, and Necessary Roughness. It's one of my favorite football
and movies. Of course, one of the best cameos in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. which is one of the craziest episodes.
But I just felt like he was just okay in this. He basically was Tom Berenger from the first two movies.
Yeah, basically. They could have also been just recasting.
Yeah, like if he was recast as Jake Taylor, then he basically played the same character.
And then it's so interesting because there was like this moment where I'm like, I know this. He's an asshole. Where do I know him from? Goggins, of course. Django Unchained and who is the guy who plays Downtown Anderson? Goggins.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
The asshole from Django Unchained and
Yeah, he's straight.
And from he's also in this was like also an asshole in the Hateful Eight.
And another villain in the movie is Carlos Liston. You know, the angry player from the Twins. He is the definition of a baseball player. I remember one from the 90s.
Hey, Comics by the Bay.
What's up, Comics by the Bay? Thanks for joining. But I remember like a player from the 90s. His name's not even coming to my mind, but he was one of those angry type players that, you know, he didn't like nobody. Like, he hit the ball, he hits home runs, but at the same time, if you threw the ball his way, he's gonna fight you. And that's what this character represented. He's those players that they want to fight, the dogs. And Gary Sheffield was another one that was similar to like him. But yeah, he was very antagonistic.
Casting wise, the third movie really also, you know, you look at the cast and you think, hey, this probably also a good movie. And then you watch it and it's like, it just doesn't have the pacing. There's a little bit, you know, it gets too far in to really build up momentum. And it fails in that.
And it has this weird CGI on certain scenes with the baseball throws, and then like it completely throws me for a loop whenever I see it.
Yeah, I was not even able to finish it. Like I was so like
I will say that it does end well, and you know, like I said, Ted McKenzie's character is so he's not even liked by his own team, so he just showed you he did his job well in terms of being a scumbag villain.
I'm just happy it's just an add-on on the trilogy box set.
Yeah, but overall, the third movie is not recommended.
It's an unnecessary addition. It feels more like a
and I know the producers wanted to do a third movie with the original cast. They wanted Charlie back. They wanted Tom back. But things just didn't work out, and we got back to the minors.
I think it's still in pre-production, like a possible third movie that ignores the Back to the Minors. But I think also now, what you're gonna do, like everybody is just a coach, or like nobody's in the age of being a player anymore.
Yeah.
Not even the kids from the second movie. They will be too old.
I will say maybe Wesley Snipes can still steal bases, you know, at his age, because he stays in shape. But other than that, I just think there's no chance of getting a third Major League film in terms of a proper third movie.
Yeah, and also it's like, who needs it?
Exactly. You know, you can just live off the first two movies alone and be good.
I do think that it would be good to have some sports movies again, because back in the day, you know, there were fantastic sports movies. You know, some more serious, some more funny. Like, you know, what was like Every Given Sunday or
Sunday.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That one. I think the last good one was maybe Moneyball.
Probably.
And of course, the Mighty Ducks. I mean, that was fantastic.
Emilio Estevez, man.
Yeah. And
I remember when they did the cartoon. It was actually animal ducks.
That was so so weird because everybody grew up with the movie, The Mighty Ducks, and then it's like, oh, the Mighty Ducks cartoon is like, they're ducks.
They want to make them action stars and stuff. I was like, nah. But yeah, man, back in the day, we had a lot of great sports movies. You know, the serious ones like Field of Dreams, Rudy, and
hey, Bronze Age Brian.
What's up, Byron? But yeah, it's like we had so many great sports films. Rookie of the Year, I love that movie too. You know, with Gary Busey in there and stuff. It was just so fun.
What was the one with Ed O'Neill?
Little Giants.
Little Giants, yeah, that one.
Yeah,
that one was
Rick Moranis. Yeah,
Rick Moranis. Yeah, that one was fantastic.
That was fun. That was a fun movie, man. Like back then, we had all sorts of fun movies that dealt with sports. It was Whoopi Goldberg, Costa Knicks, and Eddie. Yeah. But yeah, man, those days were fun. And again, we could just talk about the nostalgia of all those old films, and that's why today's films are lacking. If you see a sports film today, it's almost like repeating the cycle of old sports films.
You know what's also is that the modern sports, since everything is so fucking streamlined, everything needs to be so politically correct and everything, you're missing the characters.
I brought that up earlier. That was Scott Bakula as the quarterback in there. He was aged in 1991. I'm like, shit, you were old then. But Sinbad's in that movie too, and I love him. But yeah, it's just, I miss the days of great sports films.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's.
But I think the next sports movie, if it really comes out, would actually be that could be good. Would actually be the Hulk Hogan biopic.
Is that really going to go forward?
I have no idea, but it would be great, and I really hope that.
Oh,
you know what I hope?
What?
That we would see like a biopic about Vince McMahon directed by Vince McMahon. I would love to see that. It must be so batshit great.
That will be so one-sided that I don't even think we'll get any ounce of negativity in that film about Vince McMahon.
And then I purge the world of the territories.
It's like he was the celebration of beating WCW and ECW. The wrestling fan in me dies when I see WCW and ECW belly up.
Yeah. And the horrible Monday Night War documentary.
Hey, speaking of sports films, we did Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, yeah.
Classic. Who would have thought that taking golf and making it a funny ass movie is great? I love that film. The Water Boy, Captain Insano.
Yeah. And of course, we also talked about it last time. What was the English title again? The remake where you also have Bob Sapp in there, Goldberg.
The Longest Yard.
The Longest Yard.
We didn't talk about that film yet, man.
Now we just mentioned the movie. Like
we gotta talk about that one.
Yeah, but The Longest Yard is it's like one of the movies where the remake may actually be as good as the original.
And you know why? Because it had a bunch of wrestlers, football players, and everything in there. It just makes it better.
And Bob Sapp is also like, I was watching, like, I always think that automatically when you're a WCW guy, you're automatically also a Pride guy and not a UFC guy. And of course, K1 was so awesome to watch back in the day, and now, of course, I think somebody made a very good documentary about it on YouTube that, of course, Bob Sapp also got a little bit paid to just fall sometimes, but it was normal in Japan.
Bob Sapp was one of those that not only was in mixed martial arts, but wrestling as well. So
yeah, he would have been in WCW if WCW wouldn't have died. And it was like in New Japan, he was like huge.
He had one of the most entertaining entrances ever.
Yeah. And like his role is just fantastic. I mean, it's a bit Don Fry.
Oh man, Don Fry, he another one, man.
And he's like, he beat Godzilla. Like, hey, like. Yeah.
And we talk no holds barred on our Hulk Hogan stream. Hey, I'll say this.
Rest in peace, Tiny.
No Holds Barred is a classic example of a bad movie, but enduring to us fans of wrestling.
Yeah. It's always so crazy, you know, like it's No Holds Barred, and of course also Ready to Rumble, when they never know if they should uphold kayfabe or not. Like, is it fake? Is it not?
I was debating whether we want to talk Ready to Rumble, because Wrestling Bios did a video on.
Oh yeah, you did, yeah.
I was like, do I want to revisit this movie?
I rewatched it a while ago, and it didn't age well. But also, like, I agree with Wrestling Bios. It's still an entertaining movie. You know, you just watch it and you think, hey, this could have been better. This could have been better.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, it's still fun.
Yeah, that to me is the whole point of it. Just enjoy it for what it was. I hate the motherfuckers that go back, watch those movies, and then bring up criticism of modern style criticism.
Yeah.
That try and bring up, cancel this, cancel that. I'm like, bro, a lot of the stuff from back in the days ain't gonna fly in this day and age.
Yeah. Some for good, better, and some for worse. Like.
Yeah, like we just talked about in the first Major League, that whole scene of the locker room where she was touching everybody. I was like, that shit ain't gonna fly today. Especially when you consider, like, yeah, she's touching his nut cup, she's smacking him on the ass. Somebody
ban Bronzage Brian. Brian, get out of here.
Finally,
he was not five time.
But yeah, a lot of things back then ain't gonna fly well. And David Arquette being WCW champ definitely ain't fly well.
Yeah.
What's this?
I don't know that one.
That's the one with Paige. But I'm not a fan of Paige, so I really don't care about her. But I heard a lot of people talk about how good that movie was.
Yeah, today I rewatched Scorpion King 2 and Randy Couture is really nice in it. And I also have to rewatch the third one, and Batista's in the third one. And Batista really did very well for himself, movie-wise.
I'm a fan of Randy Couture.
Randy Couture, like, it's just so crazy how he came back, like, with his age and still won championships, like.
Yeah, like he was like the modern day Captain America with his,
always
out. He's old, he's washed up. He was basically Tom Burns in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, totally. And that's the wonderful thing, because he did it. There was no script or anything, like.
And he did it with dirty boxing and wrestling.
Yeah.
I to be honest, I really do miss the old days of UFC, Pride, and F1.
Yeah,
when they were like the top tier fighting shows to watch.
Yeah. It's completely natural how the sports evolved, so that everything merges to like a mixed martial arts style that works in the octagon. But also, I really miss the days when nobody had a clue what they were doing. And some people should have not been in there
at all.
Or like the roots at the beginning, somebody was punching other people out in the balls.
And like I said, I'll never forget all the years of hearing Fedor being most dominant fighter.
The best ever. Nobody in this world could have beaten Fedor in his prime.
And I remember the first time watching Strike Force show, and he loses the Fabricio Rudin, and I was like, the fuck am I witnessing here?
Yeah, it's like it was past his prime. It's the same thing. Mirko Grokop, when Grokop was in the UFC, he was already past his prime, and
Right kick hospital, left kick cemetery.
Yes, he basically altered Wanderlei Silva's like reality.
Man, Axe Murderer was far better in Pride than he was in UFC. By the time him and Rampage, by the time they got to UFC, they were like shells of their selves.
Yeah, but also like Wanderlei Silva was never the same after the second Groko fight.
Probably was. I mean,
yeah, because that was reality altering, and now Groko was. I still think that Fedor versus Groko is one of the best mixed martial art fights in history.
There was so many great fights over there. Pride, man. Like Pride was like, you watch UFC for like the stars, but you watch Pride for the fights.
Yeah,
like they legit had some great.
And especially what I also miss nowadays is that they don't have like an open cast. Like everybody needs to be regulated. Now I want to see a lightweight get trained by heavyweight.
There's some great stuff back there. So next week we're gonna talk the Hercules movie.
Lou Ferrigno.
That's right. I'm gonna set that up, and we're gonna talk that film. I don't care if people call that cheesy and stuff like that. Bro, we grew up off a lot of cheesy movies, and they were highly entertaining. I don't care. So,
and everybody who criticizes it, try yourself punching a fucking bear into orbit.
Either that, it's either him fighting the bear or Chuck Norris versus the bear, and you think the bear's gonna lose.
Or Arnold in Hercules in New York when he was wrestling a bear.
The fight, those guys are like elite when it comes to fighting bears.
Today I got also a nice Peplum movie in the post. Like the son of Spartacus with Mr. Universe, Freetime Mr. Universe, I think Steve Reeves.
Nice.
It's like a classic one. It's directed by Sergio Corbucci, who also did Django.
They can never redo those great classic covers from the old days.
Oh yeah, those
like I like some like retro artists that mimic the old school style.
Yeah.
But yeah,
those are just beautiful. Oh, what I also loved here, also the one I got today is old Hong Kong Eastern.
Nice.
That one I'm looking for. I haven't seen that one yet, and I haven't seen that one yet, which I'm very curious about. Is RoboForce, which is basically a Hong Kong RoboCop.
Yeah, this is RoboCop.
So I'm very curious about that.
Definitely tag me on your review when you post it on Instagram. I might have to look it up if you give it a great score.
Yeah.
Some of those rip-off movies can be highly entertaining. Like
Lady
Terminator. Lady Terminator always makes me laugh. Man, there's some good stuff, man.
Yeah, really ripping off movies and making it like a cult classic. It's also like almost like a lost art form. I know this Asylum is doing a lot of stuff. There are some interesting rip-off movies, but just back in the day it was so much more interesting since the Hong Kong movies had their own Hong Kong charm. Hey, Werewolf Bloodshed. The Italian movies had like the Italian charm, so they were adding to it. And now like by US companies ripping off US movies, you're just getting a low budget version of the same most of the time.
Yeah, and then when the US do their version of foreign movie that was great, it doesn't even match up to what the foreign movie was. Case in point, Old Boy. Yeah, and I like Spike Lee, but man, he did not. That was not his movie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Great talking baseball.
Fun.
I will put on my Mets hat because I'm a Mets fan for life. I don't give a damn. Fuck the Yankees. Yankees will always be the villains.
Yankees go home.
Hercules, we'll talk with Lou Ferrigno next week. So this is my man DV, White Lightning. And this is Black Hammer. Black Hammer. We are signing off. I hope y'all have a great weekend, y'all.
See you next Friday. Have a fantastic and savage weekend. Bye.
Later, y'all.